Hey guys, welcome back to the workshop, and if you're new here, I'm Logan and I'm building a motorcycle race engine pretty much from scratch. Now there was a good comment in the last video by a guy named Doug. He wanted to know some pretty intricate details on the engine build, which I don't have time for right now. So if anyone else has any interesting questions where they want me to really delve into the nitty-gritty side of things, ask them in the comment section down below, and I'll do my own Q&A video after this one and answer as many questions as I can. And first up in today's video, I'm going to be shortening the cam chain. So I have 3 brand new cam chain joining links here. So that's one for this cam chain, one for a brand new cam chain, and one for when I screw one of them up. And I have also printed off on the Prusa Core 1 some base gaskets and head gaskets so I can get the exact height of the cylinder head right so that the cam chain length is going to be accurate. With the 3D printed gaskets installed and the cam chain real tight, this is where the tensioner blade is sitting at the moment, so we're going to remove these 3 links and then hopefully it'll be sitting somewhere around there. So I had to grind off 4 links instead of 3 because adding the joining link back in there undoes one of the ones I've removed. And yeah, with that sitting there, it is looking much better. It is pretty much really close to the minimum, which is what we want. So now I'm going to rivet this together and shorten the temporary tensioner bolt. I've just dummied it up with the shortened tensioner bolt and the joining link has been riveted. Now I'm not happy with the method I used to rivet that, which was with the giant precision hammer. Now normally a drive chain, if it is a rivet style joining link, it'll be riveted with essentially a G-clamp style riveting tool which will swage the pins evenly and in a controlled manner. So I'm going to design one of them and I'll get Rapid Direct to whip it up. Now I'm going to move on to the combustion chamber in the cylinder head. And this is what the combustion chamber is looking like so far. As you can see, it's missing the chamber part. So let's head over to the mill. First up, I think I'm going to drill and tap a hole for the spark plug. Right, that hole's ready for our new tap, and a good way to check that it's the correct pitch is just put them together and they should mesh nicely like that. That's looking pretty good. Now we're going to turn up some aluminium slugs. There's always one. Now, a few of you might be wondering why I would bother machining these up. Now, these are essentially to protect the bores where the valve seats go. So, if I've done everything right, they should fit in there nice and tight, and they should be the exact same height as valve seats as well. I'm going to put a little bit of blue tack on them just so they can't move. And there we are. That is pretty good. I'm happy with that. A nice snug fit on all of them. And hot off the 3D printer is another gasket which should hopefully help me with this. All the prep work is done. I'm pretty much ready to start machining. I have our pattern marked out. I have our protective head gasket on here. I have the inserts in here to protect the valve seat surfaces. I've compared it to the R6 chamber, which I'm modeling it off. And I think we're ready to go. So here goes nothing. Give this a bit of a clean, see where we are. And here we are, 2 hours later. Would you look at that? That combustion chamber is looking pretty good. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I thought I was going to be making a few mistakes, but yeah, if you take your time, good things happen. Now, as you can see, there is a small lip all the way around all the valves, and that I have left for when the actual valve seats are installed, and I'll blend that in as the final sort of tidy up. But if we compare it to a R6 head, the cutout on this side is 1mm versus 3mm over there. So my head's definitely looking a bit more symmetrical, well, at least to my eye. My valves are in a slightly different position compared to the R6 head, I have noticed. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a good or a bad thing. I imagine Yamaha actually know what they're doing, so I may have these in the wrong spot. But now I'm going to remove it off the sign plate and chuck a spark plug in it and see where it ends up. It has just dawned on me that I can't actually test fit the spark plug because A, I have the wrong spark plug, and B, the surface which it seats against down there has not been machined, so everything's got to go back in the mill for one last operation. Got to figure out how wide to make the hole, so I have a slightly used spark plug here, and 16mm should be plenty of clearance. I had the sign plate in the mill, it is trued and zeroed. Now I need to set up the boring head, and I'm going to do some test machining on the aluminium because I don't have anything that can actually measure that far down a bore to make sure it's the right size. Too big. Too small. Just right. Because I don't have enough quill travel and rigidity will be better, I've got to start it down in the hole. About there. Now you guys can see as much as I can, which is diddly squat. Now I don't have time to wait for my special spark plug, so I'm going to make a really long spark plug and then I can test fit it and make sure that hole is machined to the right depth. Moment of truth, let's see how we're looking. Ooh, that's actually not too bad, to be honest. Right, let's compare it to an R6. Right, so this is the same plug screwed into the R6, and that is looking pretty close. If anything, the R6 one is slightly shrouded further, so that's an easy fix just with a shim under the spark plug. Right, I thought I was done with the combustion chamber, but I'm not done quite yet, because the piston, because of these pieces here, are hitting these pieces here, so I've still got a little bit more material to remove. Much better. And just like that, our combustion chamber is ready for some valve seats, and that brings us on to today's sponsor, Rapid Direct. Now, for those of you who don't know who Rapid Direct are, they're a precision manufacturing company who can make anything you can imagine. Now, what I got them to make me is some beryllium copper valve seats. Now, that sounds like a weird material that you've probably never heard of. So, I'll fill you in on how, what, and why. In this engine, we're running titanium valves. Titanium is a really lightweight, strong material, but one thing it really sucks at is heat dissipation. So it's going to hold on to all that combustion heat in the valve, and it could overheat, especially in racing conditions. So a good way to get around that is run a material like beryllium copper for the valve seat. So the copper in this will suck the heat right off this valve like you wouldn't believe. Now, the beryllium, I believe that is what makes it a bit more durable, because copper is a really soft material. So once again, a massive thank you to Rapid Direct for manufacturing these valve seats, and if you have some custom parts you want manufactured, there is a code down below for a discount on your first order. Now, because I only have one set of valve seats and I really don't want to screw it up, I am going to put them aside for a minute until I can come up with a concrete plan that is at least 85% foolproof. So in the meantime, I am going to start machining our camshafts, because they are back from Peter at Kennelly Cams. He has finished grinding the lobes and they are looking pretty spiffy. So let's head over to the mill. I'm going to have a go with a high-speed steel, and that'll determine whether this has been case hardened or my plating actually worked. And if it has been case hardened, I'm going to swap it out for a carbide drill. Now that's a relief. So unfortunately, I can't actually tap these holes until my carbide tap is turned up, because apparently the case hardening on this is actually pretty decent. So I'm going to put the cams aside for a second, and I'm going to do some of the crankshaft profiling. CAD designer Logan was a little bit unrealistic with what he thought I could achieve, so I've just altered the design slightly on paper. The first side is done, and how's that for a surface finish? Pretty happy with that. With those two done, now we need to swap out the vise for the dividing head. That looks like 0 to me. Right, those faces have turned out nice, very happy with that. Now I'm going to try and knock off the sharp corner and make it a nice smooth radius. I think in theory it should work, so fingers crossed. The voice inside my head has a bad feeling about this, so new plan. Do you ever have an idea and it's like a really good idea and you start doing it and you're like, man, I'm regretting this because oh my god, I'm wasting a lot of time doing this. So it's looking really good. So that's what the profile is looking like so far. As you can see, it's sort of super steppy, because you move it a bit and then you go across and back. Because yeah, I think if I had the cutter in one spot and was rotating this, it was giving a slightly concave surface, which I don't want. I want it flat. So yeah, this is hopefully the last pass. I worked it out afterwards. I was doing a pass every 2.25 degrees, which would be 160 passes for a full circle. And last but not least, a quick tidy up with the file to remove any sharp edges and burrs. It is now the next morning and I have mentally recovered from doing all that dividing head work. Now, I am actually pretty happy with how it turned out despite how long it took. Yeah, those radiuses and all the little angles and stuff, they are looking the business, and that is going to make for one hell of a rigid but lightweight crankshaft. There's obviously still a few more things to do. I've got to tidy everything up, and there's a couple more processes which I'm waiting on some tooling. So when that's all done, this will be away for night riding. Now, a big thank you to Rapid Direct for sponsoring the video. I really appreciate it, and every bit of support helps. Now, speaking of support, a while ago I set up, a Patreon and a YouTube channel membership like most YouTubers do, but I couldn't bring myself to really tell anyone about it because it felt kind of weird asking for donations. Yeah, but two of you cunning buggers figured it out without me telling you, and yeah, so shout out to the first two official channel members, Troy and Petrol. And if you want to help out the channel a little bit extra, there is a button down below. And other than that, the probably most important metric, which I don't really hear anyone talking about, apart from like and subscribe and all that hoopla, is average view duration. So if you start watching the video and then you get super excited and finish early, which no one wants that, YouTube will think, oh, this video sucks. So yeah, watch the whole video. Hell, even watch it twice. And on that note, this has been Logan from the Motorcycle Forge. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.